Welcome, future homeowners, to my channel, dedicated to navigating the exciting world of New York City real estate. I'm Gary, your trusted advisor and guide that aims to really teach you everything I can about buying and selling real estate in the great state of New York. Real quick, like and subscribe to really stay up to date on the real estate market, and comment down below if there's any topic that you're really interested about. So let's get back right into the video. In this video, we'll break down the responsibilities that you have as a buyer, the responsibilities your agent has, and your attorney, what they will each need to handle. We will highlight key actions that will really contribute to that successful purchase. During your house buying journey, every person within your real estate team has a different responsibility. From the beginning, where you just started looking, the middle, where you have submitted that offer and you have that accepted offer, and at the end, when you reach the closing table, you successfully sign those documents. So in the beginning, when you just started looking, as a buyer, there are a few essential tasks that you should do to make sure you really get the most out of this house buying journey. So for one, you need to find yourself a responsible and credible agent. And during this time, you could decide if you realistically want or need to work with an agent. This is when you will need to spend the time, talk with multiple agents, and see what they can do for you. If their capabilities will match with what you need, then I would highly recommend you work with them. If what you need during this time is what the agents aren't able to provide for you, then you will not need to necessarily work with a real estate agent. But this is something that you should do proper due diligence on to make sure you get what you want out of that relationship. And the second most important thing is really deciding for yourself during this time when you start looking for a house, what are the key aspects to a house that you really need, and what are some aspects that you would want to have but you don't really need to have within your daily life. Knowing what you need and want will help you spend your time more wisely, and this way you will have a faster house buying journey. The third part of this due diligence process in the beginning is deciding which neighborhood you really want to live in. Each neighborhood has their own unique features, and within the neighborhoods, each different street has aspects that are better or different than others. So understanding those small differences will help you make sure if you do find a house you're interested in, it is the best one that will fit your family's needs. And lastly, during the beginning process is really understanding your budget, and if you are getting a mortgage, getting that pre-approval. With the pre-approval, what your budget is in terms of the max price you're able to purchase a house at and where you are financially. By making sure you understand what you need to do to buy a house and the other aspect of understanding what it means to really keep and own a house, you'll make sure you don't really overstep your boundaries and really purchase a house that's way beyond your means and will need you to really scale back what you want from life. Make sure you do your own due diligence in the beginning so that this is not something that you'll regret in the future. If you are working with a real estate agent during this time, you want to make sure that they help educate you on the house buying journey and what you should really be expecting during this time frame. And they will, with their expertise, find options that really best fit your criteria, the needs that you want in your house, so that you will be able to explore all those options. So this way, you will make an educated decision on the house instead of a rushed decision. So they'll help schedule showings and provide all the information about those houses so that you won't be worried about things you're not sure about. So after all those showings and really seeing the houses on the market and you found one you really want to put an offer on, this is a time when your real estate agent will need to discuss with you about what you want to put an offer in, including aspects like the price, what your down payment is, and other contingencies. Those contingencies will protect you during this transaction. And if the seller has not accepted your offer and instead wants to renegotiate certain terms, your real estate agent will negotiate all those terms on your behalf to really get the most out of the deal. The second stage of the house buying journey is when your offer is accepted. This is time for when you will really act on certain contingencies and make sure that you meet those deadlines set for those contingencies, like the inspection. So after you are satisfied with those early stage contingencies, this is when if you will need to renegotiate, you will renegotiate that offer. And with that final result, you'll really start looping in your lawyer into this process. This is a stage where your lawyer will review the offer and write that contract with the other seller's lawyer, such that both sides agree on it. And there might be some other small contingencies that you will be able to negotiate during those, but in the initial stages with the offer, those are the fundamental contingencies that you and your agent will negotiate. Once the contract is completed, this is when you'll schedule a meeting with your attorney to really review that contract. You want to review that contract in detail to make sure those certain bullet points and contingencies that you wanted are in there, and make sure that whatever things you're concerned about are answered. So after you have signed that contract, and if you are getting a mortgage, you want to make sure you meet all the requirements for that mortgage lender to make sure that they will successfully loan you that amount that you will need to successfully purchase this house. During this entire stage, the real estate agent will just be troubleshooting any problems that might arise and make sure each person within this transaction are meeting the deadlines. And during this stage, the real estate agent is essentially more of a resource, and you can always ask them or your attorney for any updates or anything you're uncertain about during this process. So after you have signed that contract and you're starting to work with your mortgage lender, this is a time for when your attorney really steps on the gas and makes sure that they complete all the tasks that's necessary for them to make sure that you will have a clean and successful purchase at the closing table. So your attorney will really be requiring a lot of information from a lot of different parties, like getting a title report, getting a survey, getting a lot of other different essential documents in hand to make sure that every step there is no problem. And this is a time frame for if you have any other large contingencies, like the mortgage contingency. This is a time frame when they want to make sure they receive that mortgage commitment, which essentially approves you to get that loan from the mortgage lender as soon as possible. So during this step, the agents try to be staying in the loop and try to see what they can do to help, and really try to make sure that certain deadlines are met, and to make sure that you as a buyer are happy and content and understands where you are in this closing cycle. And once that everything is completed, and then the attorney reaches out to you as a buyer to schedule a closing date, this is a time frame when you are sure that nothing went wrong and you are ready to actually successfully buy this house. And this is a time frame when you should be asking your attorney for all the necessary documents that you should bring and what you will really need, with all the detailed breakdown in terms of financials, in terms of what you will need to pay at closing table, and then what other documentation they would need to make sure that you are who you say you are. So once you meet at the closing table, this is time when you will meet the seller and other attorney, and you and your attorney and mortgage lender will basically go through all the necessary steps and documentations that is required by New York State to successfully purchase this house. So signing a lot of disclosures and understanding the financials again. At the closing table, there's not much to be afraid of. Instead, you should just be happy that you have finally bought the house and start preparing for your next step. Buying a house in New York City requires a lot of collaboration between the buyers, the attorneys, the agents, and other different parties depending on the transaction. And really understanding what your responsibilities are as buyers will really help you be more confident in this transaction. And this way you will make more informed decisions, help you achieve your real estate goals. So during this time, if you don't have an agent, just think of yourself having more responsibilities during this whole transaction, and everything else will remain the same. So if you have any questions or need any assistance during this process, please don't hesitate to reach out. And if you like the content you heard today, please like and subscribe.